how are you guys handling hallucinations in general?
I just roll with it, man. I just lie to people. It's fine.
It's perfect. Yeah, there you go.
Lie to your client. No.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Biz Dev Podcast, the podcast about developing your business. I'm David Baxter, your host, and I am joined today by a gaggle of people. This is very exciting. We have Gary, of course, but he's not important. Let's go more importantly.
Not today. Packed house today.
If ever. All right. More importantly, we have 3 guests today, which is a first. I think this is definitely a first. We've had 2 before. We are going to be doing this panel style, and I'm very, very excited. We have, in no particular order, we have Paolo DiVincenzo, who's the CEO of Inorganic, John Lee, the CEO of Inugo, and Eric Boggs, the CEO of RevBoss. I'm going to let them all do their own intro here in just a second. We're going to do this panel style, so it's a little different than usual, but I think it's going to be a really good conversation about AI and business and all that good stuff. Paolo, do you want to lead us off? Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, sure will. Excited to be here. My name is Paolo DiVincenzo. I've been working in and around since late 1990s, some of which I founded myself, some of which I was brought into. The niches I've really focused on are ad tech, martech, turnarounds, and strategic partnerships and acquisitions. So right now I run a company called Inorganic, which helps startups find strategic acquirers.
Very cool. John, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm John Lee. I'm the founder and CEO of Inugo, and we're here in Holly Springs, North Carolina. And basically, we help the new home industry, the builders particularly, make a new go of new home sales and marketing. Traditionally, buying new homes is a very painful, arduous process. But what we do with our marketing platform, we allow the buyers to be able to find, design, experience, and then buy their homes online. So along with all that, we create the content like visualizations, virtual tours, as well as websites and sales centers. And now with AI, hopefully complete that entire customer journey online.
All right, Eric, last but not least.
Hello, I'm Eric Boggs. I'm the founder and CEO at RevBoss, a content first lead generation company based here in Durham. I've been doing technology startups around town for a very long time. Worked in marketing, tech, lead generation, primarily a couple small investments, but yeah, happy to be here and happy to chat.
So this is fun. So all of you have been on the podcast. Some of you, it's been a while. John and Paolo were some of our earliest guests. Eric wasn't on us that long ago, but this is a conversation a lot around AI and business, like I mentioned. And I wanted to start this off by giving me, just off the top, what is your general feeling about AI when it comes to your business, how you're applying it, and what you think about it? Are you pro? Are you negative? Is it whatevs? Eric, you want to start us off?
Love, hate, I believe would be my characterization.
Consensus, yes.
I think that it is a terrible thing for humanity and intellectualism and thought and relationships and lots of other things. But it's also magic and amazing and is enabling lots of opportunity. So I think that makes me neutral.
Fair. John, how about you?
I love it. I was in Silicon Valley at the dawn of the internet, which sounds so ancient now, back in 1999. And back then, everybody was poo-pooing all this internet stuff. What do we need it and all this stuff? Now, the second paradigm shift with AI adding intelligence to all the data that's out there, I think is going to revolutionize not just our daily lives, but the way we run our businesses. For us, because we've been creating this marketing platform for the home buyers to visualize their unbuilt homes, generative AI really changed the game for us because it allows us to visually generate those dream homes as well as create all the marketing descriptions for it. But now I think with agentic AI to improve that customer journey, really to assist them 24/7, maybe without the aid of a real estate agent, I think it will be at least very transformative for our industry.
Paolo?
Yeah. I would say I share some of Eric's mixed feelings. Haven't gotten quite as meta as humanity on this, but certainly with regards to business, I'm using it for a ton of improvements within my business. I'm also seeing how much better it's getting with every month, it's incredible to me. The models that I was using 3 months ago are not nearly as good as the models I'm using today. So just to see the sort of rate of improvement, it's exciting to me, and how foundationally transformative it is exciting to me. On the other hand, I don't feel like I know what's going to happen with this. And it's very much the same feeling I had in the late 1990s with the .com stuff. We knew it was going to be big. We just didn't quite know who the winners were going to be. and what the best applications are going to be. And I feel the same way right now. Puts us in a little bit of a state of unknown when it comes to strategic exits and the future of the startups that exist today. But as a category, AI obviously.
So I said probably 18 months ago that I know that AI is going to change the future. I have no idea what that future looks like, but I knew it at that time, early on in this thing. You can't deny it. This was different. It felt different than crypto and all those kinds of things, which felt like a fad. There's some cool tech there, but this was fundamental, I think, if nothing else, because the average Joe seemed to jump onto it real quick, and it was transformative. Even my kids, everybody's using it. So let me drill in a little bit. How are you guys using AI with your companies? Is it, you're building products for it specifically? Or are you using it in sales and marketing? All of the above? Are you doing anything unique with it? Obviously, I don't need trade secrets, but just kind of where are you guys using it? And maybe even more importantly, where are you not using it? Where are you trying to stay away, keep it out of, if anywhere? John, you want to start us off?
Sure. We use it on the front end and the back end. For us, we get all this disparate data from all these builders, CAD files, floor plans. I won't get into all the specifications, but basically AI is able to ingest all that, especially with its computer vision. So all those CAD files of floor plans, which nobody wants to read, or even if they read it, they couldn't document it and tag it. Now AI sits there and reads it. And not only does it tag it for AI to use on the front end to help the buyer shop, but it also actually creates all the data tags and creates all the libraries and even the sources, because we don't use the same terms across different regions or even obviously language. So we've been using it for that. We've been using it for our software development. Instead of having all our QA people sit there and try to ask all these questions, we have an army of bots that's continuously banging on our systems, testing it for breakdowns and possible hack areas and all that stuff. So it's been great on the back end, but on the front end, I think it's really helped our clients, which are generally the marketing people for the builders, to be able to create content, both textually, visually, and maybe even audio in the sales centers. But now, like I said earlier, with the customer journey, to be able to move that buyer from very top of the funnel to a Google search, now could be replaced by, say, Gemini or ChatGPT, to be able to move them throughout that whole customer journey and start where they left off, just like they would on Netflix or other applications.
How about you, Paulo? How are you using it?
We've used it a lot to automate workflows. We've used it. We do a lot of matching with prospective acquirers. We've used it for some of that. And then we use it quite a bit to spin up content. So we do a bit of outreach to make that customized, to also spin up some of the descriptions of the companies that we're putting out there. One thing I will say, and this is where we're not using it, is everywhere we use it, there's a little bit of human review. Like, it hasn't gotten to the point where I totally trust it, and for good reason. Even if you instruct it to make these mistakes, not make these mistakes over and over again, it tends to make them for whatever reason. So everything undergoes some human review. And then we haven't used it at all for quote unquote vibe coding. And we use a lot of contractors to build our software. So it could be that they're using the background and I just don't know about it. But that's one area where we haven't really dabbled.
All right. Eric, I know you're in there. Tell me about it.
Yeah, a lot of the same use cases, I think, as Paolo and John. We re-architected RevBoss completely. Like, we are a fundamentally different business than we were 12 months ago. And it's all based on things we can do now with AI. And when I joke about hating it, I'm joking.
Sure.
Part because I'm like 50% more productive. Like, I can just do things faster and better because I have this external brain, and I get call transcripts like my life depends on it. As I think about this, it's starting to thinks the way I want it to think, and I give it like detailed RevBoss data. I've got like a little assistant that's, hey, you're my co-founder. What should I think about this? And it knows everything that it can know about the business because it's got all these call transcripts. It's got all of our performance data. Yeah, it's great. It's really useful. I have done a lot of vibe coding. I launched, just as a fun project, a ratings and reviews site for youth soccer, which don't even get me started on that. But yeah, close to 2,000 reviews on a site that I just burped out over. I spent a lot of time on it, like getting the data together was a lot, but I'm not a software engineer at all. And this thing will generate revenue. It'll be a business by the end of the year. And it's crazy because I couldn't do that 12 months ago. Who knows how good this is going to be 12 months from now. And it gets to the love-hate, I guess. And I've said this and I've seen other people characterize this, but for every one thing that AI makes easy, I feel like it makes two things hard. And the one thing it makes hard is that because it's easy for you, it's also easy for anybody and everybody. So it's a great equalizer in a lot of ways, which I think is interesting and compelling. But yeah, if anybody can literally build anything, which we are approaching that, then yeah, it just makes go-to-market and brand and other things just a lot harder. And to Paolo's earlier comment about just the unknowns, yeah, I don't know what we're going to be looking at.
Since Eric just gave a confessional there, I just want to echo his sentiments. Actually, I confess that I've been using vibe coding myself. It's been interesting because I have an in-house staff, probably a dozen or so software developers, and they've been with us for a long time. I also have an outsourced staff, probably another dozen so people. They have their strengths and weaknesses. But with all this vibe coding, which a lot of people may not really understand, it's AI basically doing the coding for you. And it's really allowed me to prototype a lot of things at the speed and time and probably at my own discretion than it normally would take with a team of people that you have to have project managers go through different whiteboards and scenarios. And so I've enjoyed it. I've actually recreated our entire website, anugo.com, as a web app, just entirely using vibe coding. And I've actually used that to also create AI assistants for my website and also our builders' websites to put AI assistants on there. But one of the things I learned from this whole experience, though, is just having AI itself without, like Apollo is saying and Eric is saying, without anchoring it in some foundational grounding of accuracy and data and put some rails behind it and prevent the hallucinations, it's going to go haywire. So what I've actually created, and this is not a plug for my new company because I hadn't even announced it. I literally just built it last week, but it's 4A.ai. So just like I made a new go of it, now I'm making a new 4A.ai, but the 4 is actually FOUR, like the Fantastic Four, and then the AI is the part 4A.ai. But what that is about is an AI training academy, because if I just collect all this data and I have all this AI capabilities, I don't train the AI, it's going to be terrible for the customer. It's going to be terrible for the builder. And what I've actually done, the reason it's called 4AI is because I've taken the 4 major AIs, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT, or OpenAI, and I put them all together because one of the things I've learned is that they all think they're the smartest, but they're not all the best at things. So I actually have to have it do what it does best and work as a team.
So you mentioned hallucinations. So that brings me to my next question. I'm just going to throw this out there and you guys answer how you want. So I just read an article, I guess it was this morning, about a doctor who was using AI to support him and it made up a body part and said that they had a problem with it. And so hallucinations are real. If you've done anything with AI for any length of time, hallucinations, which is just the fancy word of it lies to you, that's real. And if you've ever vibe coded or coded in any capacity, use an AI helper, it absolutely will lie to you. I can't tell you how many times it tells me that something is production ready and it's absolutely garbage. It's just, it just lies. So does anyone have I know you guys aren't doctors, so that's good, but how are you handling hallucinations? How does that, if you're allowing, say, for instance, a sales thing and it makes up a feature of what your app does. Now, Paolo already mentioned there's some human involvement, so there's that. He's already answered that a little bit. But how are you guys handling hallucinations in general?
I just roll with it, man. I just lie to people. It's fine.
It's perfect. Yeah, there you go.
Lie to your client. No.
Because if you make up a new feature and you're like, hey, they want to buy that. Clearly, it's a good feature, right? Hey.
No, I just
have
run
AI build
I
it
just run a QA
afterwards.
step. It's hey, check yourself. And it's like I'm asking the liar to check on its lie, but that works pretty well. I think the other thing too is like I've just gotten a lot better at using it. Like I use Replit, from our little fun side project, and I follow the Replit subreddit in Reddit. And every day it's these people that are like, I can't believe how bad this is. I can't believe how much money I wasted. I can't believe how dumb this thing is. And it's you guys are so wrong about this. This is like a magic tool that's just getting better. And I'm sorry that you spent wasted $100 on something that would have cost you $10,000 18 months ago.
Yeah.
It's like that Louis C.K. bit about flying on a plane and the Wi-Fi is not working and people get pissed off. He's like, you're on a tube flying through the air and you still have the internet. Have some patience, have some grace, and some appreciation for what you have. And so, yeah, it happens. I don't know. I really do roll with it. Like I haven't had any real issues of like, real, but it's, yeah, I can tell when it's bullshit.
I just want to follow on Eric because I had similar experiences. Honestly, it's a lot of one step forward, 50 steps back. And then I feel like I build Jenga up and then I pull one piece and the whole thing collapses and I have to rebuild. I want to rebuild it taller and I have to go through that iteration many times. But that's one of the reasons that I actually have 4 AIs. So I actually need them to check on each other because sometimes, like I said, they don't have the perfect knowledge, or sometimes the last time they scraped was a year ago versus a perplexity was yesterday. And so there's a lot of checks and balances I put in there. But one of the things that allows me to do, the other thing I do is also I'm pulling real data from our cooperating builders. So it's not going to hallucinate. One of the reasons it hallucinates because there's a gap in the data and it's trying to fill that gap with the World Wide Web of knowledge. Because if I left it up to AI, it would say everybody should buy Barbie houses because of the movie. So I have to bring in the builder's real data. And then what I do use it for is I use it for rapid prototyping because normally say I would only be able to create one version of something. Now I can create 8 versions and maybe I find out, wow, number 7 is actually something I would never consider, but it's actually pretty good. Then I bring it back to my hardcore human expert software developers to now build the course of action that I've fast prototyped. So it allows me to pivot very quickly. And that's one of the advantages of being a startup is being able to move quickly and pivot and save money, hopefully, in doing that.
Very good.
Yeah, I do feel like these hallucinations and inaccuracies that we are seeing, I feel like they're getting fewer and fewer, at least. It was really bad 6 months ago or so when we first started operationalizing this stuff. And it's gotten better and better. I still put the human review on top of it. I think eventually we're going to see either services or models that like the human review. You know, one thing I hear about the vibe coding is that it's horrendously unsafe and there are all these holes in it. And it seems to me we're probably going to have some QA testing, proofing type applications that sit on top of coders or something like that. So I think these problems will resolve themselves just based on the pace of things, that we're all basically seeing the same issues and that folks are enterprising will find ways to fill these gaps.
We're following the evolution and the speed of evolution of what OpenAI has done. Every LLM that comes out is so much better and smarter. And I feel, at least in the Replit world, which I just joined in May, I feel like we're like raising a baby and a toddler, learning how to speak and then how to walk and then going to first grade. And so as we correct it, it learns from that. But it is a lot of work. So a lot of people think, oh, this is just the easy button. It's easy to jump in, but you still have to learn how to swim. And it's fun, but it's I wouldn't just say just plug and play.
There is something to be said. I mean, you hear this all the time, but these are the worst these tools will ever be. And you can almost feel that in real time. It is so remarkable how fast everything changes. Because I'm an old enough guy that I remember pre-internet. And if you go back, not that long ago, unless you talk to my kids, but technology moved pretty slowly, relatively speaking. I mean, it still blows my mind have you ever seen the poster that shows the Wright brothers? And then 60 years later, we're in space. Like when you wrap your head around that, that's insane. But if you see now how fast, even from that point, 1969 to where we are now, which is another 60 years, it's another crazy thing. So I want to bring it back to my list of questions, which Christy was very kind enough to build for me. I think she has some really great ones in here. What was an AI advancement that made it click, right? Was it when it was like, oh man, what was there a demo? Was there a news article? What was it that was like Eric, for instance, you rebuilt your company. What was it that you saw that you're like, that I need that made you switch?
Oh, I think of a lot of them. John admitted to this. I rebuilt repboss.com on Lovable. And I think it costs like $250 in credits. And you manage it like a web application. You have to deploy it, updates. There's not like a WordPress template, but I think we paid $50,000 for the previous RepBoss WordPress custom template design, everything. And it's just, yeah, there's something deep there in terms of what this means for productivity and the viability of a lot of small businesses. That's one instance. I think that another one was finally like unlocking, like stringing together like conditional API calls and strings of actions where you're just like throwing some data against an API, getting something back, and then continuing to process that in a way where you have an actual solution to a problem, like an end-to-end completed thought or problem or decision, versus hey, make a post or make a funny image. Like once that, and that was probably, I don't know, 12 months ago, that was like, okay, we have to like redo everything, and we have to cut a lot of people, we have to change our product, like we have to do everything because the way we've been doing this is fundamentally no longer viable. And other people are going to figure this out. We just have to figure it out faster, or at least as fast as we can.
To follow along what Eric just said, say for me, maybe our budget is $50,000. I'm still going to spend $50,000, but now I don't have to spend it on the foundation. Let me use my builder analogy, because a lot of times you build that website, that's all the money you have, and you're already at the ceiling when you really just at the foundation of what your application can do. So now I can use that money and that time to go build in all these rich customer experience features to improve the customer journey, to improve the data, to improve the backend, to improve the CMS and the CRM, and to also utilize all these APIs that connect me outside of my old WordPress site to all this wonderful information in the World Wide Web through AI APIs. I think it allows me to better utilize my resource and give me a much higher ceiling than I ever could imagine in the time frame that I had before.
Paolo, was there anything for you that made you think?
Don't worry, I'm not cutting my budget. I'm just better utilizing it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big aha for me when I first used ChatGPT, when it first came out, this is pretty incredible. Even though it was choppy back then, it seemed pretty revolutionary to me. And my first thought was I had been looking for a way to keep my Spanish going. And so what I was looking for was a conversational partner. My first thought when I used ChatGPT, I was like, gee, I wonder if this thing can talk to me in Spanish. That would be phenomenal. Even if it's not 100% correct and factually inaccurate and is hallucinating all over the place, all I want to do is practice Spanish. And so I tried, it didn't quite work. And then 6 months later or 4 months later, something like that, a new company emerges and that's all they do. I forget the name of it, but I signed up for it right away. But I'm thinking this is incredible, not only in that, it changes the operations of our current businesses, but it creates entire new categories that just were impossible or didn't exist previously. So I think even though it had nothing to do with my business, that was the point at which I realized, man, this is going to be insane. It's going to create all sorts of new opportunities.
And as a personal anecdote, very similar to that, this just happened today. My dad, he loves to write, but he's 85 years old now, and he writes everything in Chinese. So I can't read all the stories that he's written. And then his friend just had it run through ChatGPT, and today I just got it in English. So I can finally read all his stories I would never been able to read.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So Eric mentioned this, and I think this is a good lead in. There's a human cost to this, right? You guys are all business owners. So let's have that frank conversation. It's like Sam Altman says, hey, we're all going to lose our job to this thing. And he wants to pay everyone, right? Universal basic income. That's one side, right? We're all going to lose our jobs and people are just going to pay us from the money that magically gets created. I'd never understood that, but there you go. That's him. And then you have the Anthropic guy. I never can remember his name. I'm sorry. It's a very cool name. But anyway, Dario? He's more pragmatic, right? Oh, hey, this is going to be a tool to help people and it's going to make them better at their job. And people, you might lose a few people, but generally speaking, it's going to be good for humanity. Where do you guys sit on that? That's a paradigm seesaw right there. Where do you guys sit? Eric obviously mentioned already hadn't to let people go. That could have been a joke. I don't know. But where do you sit on that? How does that work for you? And how, as the business owner, how does that sit with you? Is this just, this is business, we're doing this? Or is there a heavy heart? Like, how does that work? There's no right and wrong answer. I'm just curious.
I think from a competitive standpoint, I have to do it because one, big tech is going to force it down my throat anyway. When Google pulls the plug on SEO, search in a sense, and they're going to replace with Gemini, marketing has to play along with that. But the other side of it is, if I don't do it, my competitors will do it. And so I'm not worried about AI putting me out of a job. I'm worried about my competition putting me out of a job because I didn't follow along. I do feel like, this used to be knowledge is power, and it still is. Content is king. Data is even more gold than it ever has been. But it's not just knowledge is power. It's know-how is power. Knowledge is going to be ubiquitous. It's at your fingertips. You can ask anything you want, but knowing how to apply it to succeed in your industry and help your customers succeed, the ones that are able to create the apps and utilize AI to achieve that will win. The ingredients are all there, but not everybody's going to be a top chef. It's how you put that stuff together and then serve it to the customer for something they want to buy.
Anybody else want to jump in on that?
I think the one forecast I don't like that I hear a lot is that, isn't this great because now we don't have to do rote tasks and we can all do really heady stuff, which I think is naive, right? Some of us maybe can do that. Some of us can't. And I think it's naive to say that there may be a disruption and that jobs that used to be stable and exist are no longer to be stable nor exist. I think there is some sort of fundamental shift going to have to take place when we're talking about these jobs that go away. I can speak just anecdotally from my tiny little company. Fortunately, I didn't need to lean down because we've always run pretty lean. However, I haven't hired anybody since I started using AI. It's definitely replaced some would-be hires I might have had. So there's an effect on my tiny little company. Now magnify that by all the huge companies out there. That's definitely going to be an impact. I think we have to be honest about it, nothing else.
I will own up to that. Our team dramatically, both based on capability and just business model pivot and change. And our new operating mantra now is double, triple revenue, no headcount. If I never hire anyone ever again, cool. And to John's point, it's not like I don't have agency. This is the new game. It's like the rules of the game changed all of a sudden.
Right.
And you just have to adapt to it very quickly. And that is how you have to play the game now. And so I think that I believe so deeply that a massive disruption is coming that I joined the board of directors for my kids' school to try to have a voice in K through 12 education. And my whole position statement was, in summary, you have no idea what is going to happen to education and the job market and culture.
Yes.
And so I jumped all over this opportunity and haven't had a board meeting yet. Haven't cracked my knuckles to lay it out there in terms of how are we preparing children for a world where literally the answer to every question is you just ask a bot. And I have two friends that are college professors. The change that they have seen in the last 6 months, it is hilarious. I don't think I'm breaking FERPA regulations or whatever, but one of my college roommates is a professor. He teaches religion and English at a very big public university. And he has started, when he gives these PDFs assignments to his students, he just puts in 1-point font, white text on a white background, a reference to in your answer, or incorporate. He sent a message today. He's ruining kids, and he should, because so many people are turning in these assignments with Rodney Dangerfield quotes, and they're like, "No, I didn't use
That's
ChatGPT."
pretty hilarious.
What's the point of all of this if you're just going to cheat? Just cheat that sloppily and that.
You clearly didn't even read it, right? It's come on, man.
Yeah, you just threw this in and took the answer. You didn't read the response. You didn't read the prompt. You didn't read the output. It's multiply that times, I don't know, 350 million people. Yeah. And that's what I don't feel great about in terms of where we are headed culturally. And the last person I will trust with any of this is some big tech CEO like Sam Altman or Elon or Zuckerberg. Those dudes,
But since we're having a frank discussion, I tell you, one of the big pressures, maybe this is the big secret out there, is it's my customers that are, and I won't put them as an excuse as the fall guy, but it's my customers that are actually pushing for this because, especially in the home builder segment, they spend a boatload of money on salespeople and realtors, on the whole sales and marketing process. So if they're able to service 24/7 and still maybe curate and maybe even convert those sales with a fraction of the cost and the time, and that's very attractive. And so they are pushing for us to do this. Consumers are pushing to buy houses online like they do everything else. They don't want to go on this long, arduous journey full of risk and frustration and all that. So if we can expedite that, even whether it's not just AI helping you, but to help you with even the transactions, have my AI automatically complete mortgage application and insurance applications and utility connections. All those AI to AI agent connections down the road that can expedite and reduce transaction costs and time. To me, if we can reduce the stuff we don't like to do so we can go spend the time and the money on the things we want to do, isn't that a great thing for society?
That wraps up this episode of the BizDev Podcast. Thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at hello@thebigpixel.net or connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. BizDev is a production of Big Pixel, a US-based provider of UX, design, strategy, and custom software. This podcast is edited by Matt McCracken, yes, that is his name, and me, Christy Pronto, marketing guru for Big Pixel.